What's up, Falcon fans? This is week 2 where the Atlanta Falcons will travel to Philadelphia to face the Eagles. So, if you guys like this type of content, hit that like button. If you guys hate this type of content, hit that dislike button. We'll hurt your boy's feelings. Well, maybe it's a little bit. But if you want to do a huge favor for your boy by hitting that subscribe button, it will help out the empire grow. So, on that note, let's just start out with the Atlanta Falcons. Let's address Kirk Cousins' situation first because we did pay him $180 million and whatever type of guarantee of money as well. I can't remember the top of my head. But look, I stated in my preview video against the Steelers that I was confident enough that he can play decent. I didn't think excellent, but decent enough where we could beat the Steelers. Obviously, that didn't happen. The numbers speak for itself. 26 attempts, only 16 completions, 155 total passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 really bad interceptions that should have never been thrown in the beginning. But besides all that, why did this happen? Was it because of the lack of chemistry between his wide receivers? Or is it because of the brand new offensive coordinator and Zach Robinson that they still have to learn, the concepts? Or is it because maybe Kirk Cousins' playing style does not fit what the Atlanta Falcons are trying to do? I remember when he was with the Washington Redskins and the Minnesota Vikings, he loved the play action, and that was his bread and butter. But in my personal opinion, I have 2 major reasons on why this is happening. Reason number 1 is the most obvious, his Achilles tear, where I'm reading a bunch of medical websites where they're saying that it usually takes up 3 months to fully recover, or sometimes the worst scenario, it takes them up to a year to fully recover. And maybe that's why the Atlanta Falcons actually decided to draft Michael Penix Jr. because they realized the injury was way worse than anyone thought. And number 2 is the Atlanta Falcons offensive line did not help Kirk Cousins at all. Now, obviously, I knew the Pittsburgh Steelers defense was good, but they just ravaged them like rag dolls, and it was just not fun to watch. Especially realizing that the Atlanta Falcons will have to face another tough opponent against the Philadelphia Eagles, where we didn't do a really good job in stopping Alex Highsmith, TJ Watt, and Cameron Hayward at the forefront. So the Atlanta Falcons offensive line has to clean up for this matchup. But there is a bright side for the offensive line, and that's definitely the run game. Now, Bijan Robinson did a pretty good job. I feel like Tyler Algier should have got more carries. I really liked some of the run schemes they used for Bijan, hopefully for Tyler as well, because compared to how the Philadelphia Eagles faced the Green Bay Packers, run attack is not so pretty. They gave up 163 total rushing yards to the Packers, with Josh Jacobs leading the way with 84 total rushing yards, and then Jalen Reed's special run play for 33 with 1 rushing touchdown was fantastic. So it shows that the Atlanta Falcons do have a golden opportunity to get some touchdowns and get some massive rushing yard plays. So when it comes to the wide receiving core and tight end core for the Atlanta Falcons, it's going to be a little tough, but there is a way to victory. Obviously, the outsides are going to be very tight. Dealing with the Eagles corner and Quinyon Mitchell and Darius Slay. But the good news is that the Green Bay Packers actually had pretty good success in the middle of the field, where Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs were shredding down the middle. And that's how the Atlanta Falcons should attack the Philadelphia Eagles, with Ray McCloud. And then hopefully, Kyle Pitts and then Darnell Mooney can be in some type of slot situation coverage. So when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons defense, they did a good job in not allowing the Pittsburgh Steelers to score any touchdowns. Only 6 field goals for 18 points in total. We got 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits, and 7 tackle for losses. And not allowing Justin Fields to go crazy on us like last year in Week 17 against us, when he was still with the Chicago Bears. But instead, against him with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he only eclipsed 156 total passing yards and 57 total rushing yards, and both of those 0 touchdowns in those categories. The Falcons also did a pretty good job in making sure that the Pittsburgh Steelers' third conversion rate was terrible. They were 8 out of 17. That's a pretty good job. So the only problems I've noticed is we still cannot stop the mobile quarterback. When they're about to run, they get a first down. That is a major play of moving the chains. Number 2, AJ Terrell still does not do a pretty good job in the beginning of the season, going against the opponent's number one wide receiver. This time it was George Pickens, who caught 6 receptions for a grand total of 85 receiving yards, 0 touchdowns. Everybody else did a pretty good job in shutting down the receiving core and tight end core, but AJ Terrell definitely needs to clean up, especially when he has to cover AJ Brown or Devontae Smith. So now let's talk about the Eagles side of the ball. So we have to start out with the Philadelphia Eagles rushing attack. They had 144 total rushing yards, and of course Saquon Barkley was the key for their success in the run game with 24 carries, 109 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and then of course he caught 1 receiving touchdown as well to boot. And I don't understand why the hell did the New York Giants decide not to pay this man, because besides that 2020 season when he got injured, he's been a baller, a Pro Bowler. So this is absolutely disgusting to know that the Philadelphia Eagles have more weapons at their disposal. No question out of my mind, this will be a tough test for the Atlanta Falcons defense to try to stop AJ Brown and Devontae Smith from trying not to get over 50 yards and hopefully no touchdowns. But these wide receivers are the real deal, and Jalen Hurts also have other weapons at his disposal with the tight end Dallas Goedert, and of course newly acquired Saquon Barkley, and they all did a fantastic job going against the Packers defense when it comes to the passing game. There is some good news for the Atlanta Falcons defense. Jalen Hurts did throw 2 interceptions down the middle, and also that AJ Brown was only targeted 10 times and caught 5 of those. Even though those 5 receptions for 119 receiving yards and 1 touchdown against a really great corner in Jair Alexander is still pretty impressive. That's why we have to be careful, because one single play, he could take it to the house. But on the other hand, when it comes to Smith, he was targeted 8 times and caught 7 of those for 84 total receiving yards, where he will catch anything that he sees in his peripherals. And their big reason why for success when it comes to the passing game, because they have one of the best offensive line in the game. Even though if Jalen Hurts doesn't have a great game, they can make up for that. The Philadelphia Eagles defense got 2 sacks, got 5 quarterback hits, and 4 tackle for losses against the Green Bay Packers. But unfortunately for them, they did allow Jordan Love, the quarterback, to throw for 260 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Yes, they did get 1 interception, but they allowed Jaden Reed and Christian Watson to score 1 touchdown each. And then, of course, they allowed Josh Jacobs and the rest of the running back committee to get over 163 total rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown. Let's remind ourselves, they are not a pushover team. Last year, they had 43 total sacks. Now, obviously, most of that came from, Hassan Reddick. Now, he is gone with the Jets, or supposedly. But then you have to realize that Fletcher Cox is not there. So, Jalen Carter, everybody know from Georgia that he is a dog. And last year, he had 33 total tackles, 6 sacks, 8 tackle for loss. And then you got Josh Sweat, the linebacker, who also got 6.5 sacks. And then, of course, you got Jordan Davis, the other defensive tackle from Georgia, that collectively got 45 total tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 2 tackle for loss. Now, of course, their secondary is pretty legit good. So the one reason why I think the Green Bay Packers had a better chance dealing with the Eagles is that they have a healthy quarterback who's a lot more mobile than ours, unfortunately. And plus, they were playing in Brazil, even though I know there was a lot of Eagles fans traveling there in South America. But remember, when we have to face them, they're going to be at their home territory, Monday Night Football in Lincoln Financial Fields, and that stadium is going to be loud as hell. So that's a huge bonus for them compared to us. So what is the final verdict for this primetime game? Unfortunately, I have the Philadelphia Eagles beating the Atlanta Falcons 27-21. The last time that the Atlanta Falcons beat the Philadelphia Eagles at their house was back in 2012, where the score was 30-17 when Matt Ryan was at the helm. And usually, historically, since the 2000s, we have not beaten them at their house during primetime games. But that can also be said by the Philadelphia Eagles, where when they come to our house in primetime, they lose as well. So it's a weird historical matchup between these two franchises. So on that note, if you guys lasted this long to the very end of the episode, thank you so much for taking your own personal time and day to watch the Falcon content videos. I love making videos for you guys. So what do Falcons do? Rise up. Until the next episode, show love and peace to the world, and peace.